So I was looking for a small, lightweight performance laptop for school on my last term, and I sold my original laptop for various reasons, and I didn't want to spend too much money, and I wanted something that was good enough to get me through school. Now, I was originally thinking of getting a MacBook, but then I found out that we can't even run Mac or Linux for our last term. So that really narrowed down my options for me. I looked at a Lenovo X220 with an i7 processor, but they're going for anywhere between $200 to $300, and I thought for what you get, that's not really a lot. So then I just decided to say screw it. What's the best laptop we can get for $300 or less? And what I found was an Alienware m14x R1. So $300 got me a laptop from 2011 that has a i7 2860QM, I believe. It's up to 3.6 gigahertz, 4 cores, hyper-threaded, so 8 cores I guess, 8 gigs of DDR3 RAM, a 650 gig WD Black, which was swapped for a 500 gig Kingston SSD, and an NVIDIA GT 555M with 3 gigs of GDDR3 RAM. And honestly, the 3 gigs is way over the top. You're never going to fill that up or get to use any of that really. The GPU is really not that good. Jumping straight into the games. Here's Call of Duty Black Ops. We're running zombies on Shino Numa. We're getting about 40 FPS. Everything is maxed out entirely. The frame rates will dip a little bit, sometimes into the high 30s. Overall, very, very playable on this laptop. You'll notice a reoccurring theme here. The CPU is being used way less than the GPU, and I think that the GPU really holds this laptop back, unfortunately. Need for Speed Most Wanted came out in 2005, yet if you max out all the settings, it is still very, very demanding. I didn't have anti-aliasing turned on, but everything else was maxed out, and you can tell that it's under 30 FPS most of the time. It's not very playable. You could definitely play it if you did turn down the settings though, but yeah, the laptop really struggled with this one. Still won the race though. Taking it back to around when this laptop would have been relevant, we have Minecraft Beta 1.301. Java 64-bit installed and all the settings maxed out here. You can see I'm going to turn it down to normal, the render distance, because on far we're getting like 30 FPS, which is really, I don't know, I don't find it that playable. I notice it, so I set it down to normal after letting the world render a bit, and we were getting about 50-60 FPS, which is perfectly playable. We also have a couple mods installed, but that doesn't really affect the game and its performance. Now we're moving on to some TF2. Do keep in mind, TF2 has changed a lot over the years, and it's even the best computers will lag. So here I'm playing on a Skyle community server on 2Fort. There's about like I think 13 people, including myself, on this server. We're sitting at about 30-ish, 40-ish FPS, all settings maxed out. Relatively playable, but when things get super hectic, it will drop into the low 30s, sometimes high 20s. Here we have Half-Life 2. This game runs perfectly fine. Everything's maxed out once again, native resolution. Not really a whole lot to say here. You can see that I'm going to die in a few seconds. Overall very playable and very fun. So if you were looking to play Half-Life 2, then play it on this laptop, I guess. Moving on with Source Games, we have Gary's Mod. I was having difficulties connecting to online servers, so in order to replicate a typical Gary's Mod server experience, I took one of the biggest dupes I could find on the workshop, and I spawned it in a really large map. And you can see our frame rate's not really that good. Once again, all settings are maxed out, native resolution, everything. We're getting about like 27, 30-ish FPS. So when there's a lot going on, the laptop really can't take it that well, but I imagine if you turn down the settings, it should be a lot better. Next up, from 2011, is Cry of Fear. Now this game was very spotty. Even on newer computers, it's very spotty. This game is, as far as I know, a single core game only, so it runs like shit on some of the best computers as well. Even on my Mac Pro, runs pretty shitty sometimes. It was relatively playable. You can see we're in the little mental hospital in the forest. Frame rate usually in the 30s, sometimes 40s, depending on where you are, but I would say it was relatively playable. In some parts it was a little bit unplayable though. Next we're going to jump into Killing Floor. MSI Afterburner was not working with this application like it didn't in my last video with the Mac Pro, so not sure what's going on here, but it was a very, very, very smooth 60 FPS. All the settings maxed out. We're playing here on KF Farms single player, and very happy with this. This is very, very playable, but it is an older game. So if you can't tell by now, a reoccurring theme is that I've been playing some older games. That's because you really shouldn't expect a laptop of this era to be able to handle things like GTA 5 or, Borderlands 2 or something like that. It's just not good enough. But I was curious anyways, and I wanted to try Black Mesa Source, the Steam version, not the Source mod. I have a mixture of settings going on right here, and it's okay. It's I'm kind of surprised, but it's very glitchy. You can tell. Have a look here. Some of the props, the static props, are just black. I could not fix this. I don't know what causes this, but it was okay. I would say it was borderline unplayable though. Maybe if you turn down the settings it would run better, but I'm not sure. So for $300, can I recommend this Alienware m14x R1 from 2011? As a regular computer, absolutely. This is going to blow any $300 computer from 2019 out of the water. For gaming, it's a bit of a different story. You have to be ready to turn down your graphics settings and don't expect to play new titles on here. Honestly, it's a decent laptop and it looks really cool. For gaming though, I'm gonna have to say give yourself another 100 bucks, 150 bucks, you'll find something way better than this. But I'm not really using it for gaming anyway, so for me it works perfectly fine.